Here's more wrestling news for June 2nd, 2021. And your headlines for this afternoon include Riddle to receive massive push, huge match set with Goldberg at SummerSlam 2021. Good news regarding The Miz's current knee injury. Hikaru Shida opens up about Willie Urbina's racist mockery. Mystery name going to WWE NXT superstar revealed. Released WWE superstar claims to still be with the company. Lio Rush and Mark Henry had a confrontation backstage at AEW Double or Nothing. MVP brutally attacks a fan for derogatory remarks about the women partying with Bobby Lashley. Nick Khan among names elected to WWE Board of Directors, WWE Hired New Executives, receives Major Backlash Backstage, and more. WWE has reportedly parted ways with several top talents. Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Ruby Riott, Buddy Murphy, and Santana Garrett were all released today. It was reported earlier this week that these releases were being made due to budget cuts. These come after an initial round of talent cuts in mid-April, another round of talent cuts in mid-May, and a number of significant office and corporate departures in May that were part of a major restructuring. The only way we can rationalize these kind of cuts is to believe that WWE is eventually up for sale. Stay tuned for more news relating to these releases. What do you think of these releases? Please share your comments down below. We're starting today with Bill Goldberg, who hasn't been seen since his Royal Rumble 2021 loss to Drew McIntyre, but the Hall of Famer is set to return to WWE TV very soon. According to reports, the former Universal Champion is set to be back in the next month or so, culminating in a SummerSlam match against his longtime critic, Riddle. Right now, Riddle is teaming with Randy Orton as RK Bro, and the duo have impressed many people despite their differences. Not only will Goldberg face Riddle at SummerSlam, but he'll also mark the end of RK Bro, as the reported plan is for Orton to cost Riddle the match this August, starting a feud between the two, leading to a pay-per-view match the next month, rumored to be Clash of Champions. Goldberg's contract allows for a handful of matches each year, but given that he's only competed once so far in 2021, a match at WWE's biggest party of the summer makes a lot of sense. It's believed that Riddle losing to Goldberg won't derail his momentum, especially as he wouldn't lose clean, and that WWE's higher-ups are on board with the original Bro and plans to push him in a big way. This would explain why Riddle would be feuding with big names like Goldberg and Orton, and win or lose, a match with the Hall of Famer is something the Raw superstar has been wanting for a very long time. On this week's Raw, fans saw the return of The Miz, who suffered an injury during his WrestleMania Backlash Zombie Lumberjack match with Damian Priest, and we have some good news on his condition. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said that The Miz's injury is a partial ACL tear, not a full one, and if it had been a full tear, he'd have to be on crutches and go under the knife. On Raw, The Miz hinted that he won't be wrestling for a bit, but teased accepting clients to mentor under a managerial role. Had it been a full tear, the A-lister would have needed 9 months off to recover, but he'll be back far sooner than that. And in the meantime, we'll have to see if the WWE finds a way to keep the former world champion on TV, even though he can't wrestle. AEW Next and Hikaru Shida has proven herself to be a top star in the company, recently holding the AEW Women's title for a year before losing the gold last week to Britt Baker. Last week also saw the Spanish announce team's microphones left on during a commercial break on Fight TV, meaning fans heard Willie Urbina mock Shida's Japanese accent with a stereotypical and offensive imitation of her that quickly cost him his job. Tony Khan has said that he personally apologized to Shida for Urbina's actions, and now Shida herself has tweeted her thoughts on the situation, saying, "I didn't want to talk about this before my big day, so let me tell you now, I don't give a shit what other people said about my race because I love it and I'm proud of it and because I know which is fool. I don't even feel anger, so don't need to worry about me." It's great to see that Shida didn't let Urbina's actions get to her, as she's more focused on getting a rematch with Britt Baker for the AEW Women's Championship. Over to NXT, and the Gold brand has plenty of trademarks already, and now we know that one superstar is set to undergo a name change. Last week, WWE registered trademarks for Carmelo Hayes and Trey Baxter, and whilst Cameron Casanova debuted as Hayes this week, losing to Kushida, fans have been wondering who'll get the Baxter name. PW Insider reports that Blake Christian is set to become Trey Baxter, and whilst he hasn't been on TV yet, it's expected that Baxter will be having his time in the spotlight in the very near future. NXT superstar Kavita Devi was one of the many on-screen talents who recently lost their jobs in WWE, but that's not the case according to Devi herself. Devi hasn't been on WWE TV for a very long time, as she's been in her native India since January when her husband tested positive and was released whilst away from the United States. Speaking to the Hindustan Times, though, Devi explained that she made the decision not to return to the US thanks to an ACL injury and that WWE have been very supportive. She added, "WWE has been incredibly supportive. They understand that India is where I need to be. We are working together on a new arrangement that allows me to be home but still part of the WWE universe." Devi certainly makes it sound like she's still hired by WWE despite the reports of her release last month, and whilst she didn't make it to the India-centric Superstar Spectacle in January, it seems she may be sticking around WWE for the time being. More from AEW now, as Double or Nothing saw the debuts of both Lio Rush and Mark Henry, two men who have quite a history. In May last year, the pair threatened to sue each other after some very ugly comments made by both men, but now they're working in the same company. When fans speculated if the two had crossed paths backstage, Rush confirmed they had, tweeting that they'd had a long, in-depth conversation during the show and that he's looking forward to the future. It appears that the two men have reconciled their differences, and we'll have to see what Henry has to say about the matter now that he and Rush are both all elite. In recent weeks, the almighty WWE Champion Bobby Lashley has been bringing a group of women to Raw, with each week seeing a different group serve as the champion's valets. The women are featured prominently during segments with Lashley and are usually seen partying with the champ and MVP in their personal locker room, but one fan wasn't pleased with the valet. In a now-deleted tweet, the fan referred to the women as whores and referred to Lashley and MVP as pimps, which got a reaction from MVP himself. Saying that the women aren't hoes, MVP said how they left the fan's mother and sister on the street corner, and when the fan tried to portray themselves as the victim, MVP reminded others what the fan had said, that it was disgusting and disrespectful, telling him, "Don't dish it if you can't take it." That fan was more than happy to insult others, but couldn't handle when his own insults were used against him, as MVP proved he's not someone to mess with on TV or on Twitter. In recent weeks, WWE President Nick Khan's power has grown backstage, as he will now oversee WWE's international relationships, and he also got an important new position yesterday. As confirmed in a statement by WWE, Khan has been elected to the company's board of directors, alongside Steve Koonin, CEO of the NBA's Atlanta Hawks, and Connor Schell, an award-winning film and TV producer who has previously served as the executive vice president for content at ESPN. In a statement, Vince McMahon said that the three have proven track records across the entertainment industry, and he looks forward to their insight and contributions now that they're members of the board. And we're ending today with more corporate news, as after WWE made some sweeping cuts last month, with several vice presidents being fired, the company is now taking new staff on. This week, WWE has hired 3 new executives, including Jamie Horowitz as Executive Vice President of Development and Digital, who has over 20 years in the sports and media industry, and will also be responsible for WWE Studios after most recently working as Executive VP of Global Content at DAZN. Samira Shah has been hired as General Counsel and Corporate Secretary, meaning she'll oversee legal matters and be an advisor for the company, and previously served under the same role at Moda Operandi Inc. Matt Drew has been hired as Senior Vice President of International Relations, where he'll work under Nick Khan and will be responsible for managing WWE's global media partners and worldwide strategy. Before joining WWE, Drew worked as Executive Vice President for Rights Acquisition at DAZN and helped manage relationship across the Americas, Europe, and Asia with the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, F1, and other sporting industries. Given that WWE only recently released dozens of staff members on top of recent talent releases, these new hirings haven't gone down well, according to John Alba. In his report, Alba described Horowitz as a controversial hiring, referencing Horowitz being fired from Fox's FS1 in 2017 after an investigation into sexual harassment claims. Not just that, but hiring 3 names has been seen as callous by fans, especially after so many people lost their jobs for what WWE calls cost-cutting measures, and we'll have to wait and see how things work out for WWE's newest employees. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.